Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once more to some more Faceit League action. We're going to leave the Southern Hemisphere and we're heading up to North America here for what's going to be the upper finals. And the winner of this game obviously going to go on to the grand finals. It's either going to be Dreamland, the number 1 seed, or Kintsugi, number 3. Index, if you would have told me and talked to me about even a month ago that this was going to be our upper final game, I don't know if I would have believed you, because Dreamland, certainly, but Kintsugi, they have been on a run this last month. They have looked fantastic, and after a big upset win, reverse sweep over Nightmare, they find themselves not only just locked into the top 4, but a spot of a potentiality to go to the grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to agree with you. If you go back a month, you could really probably, I'm not going to say pencil, but heavily favor Dreamland being in the spot they are right now. Kintsugi, on the other hand, well, considering about a month ago was when the season started back up, they had only played, I believe it was 3, maybe 4 games up until that point. So they left a lot of their season in that month between then, now and then. But I mean, this Kintsugi team, when you look at the names on it, it doesn't surprise you that they are here. Winter, Z, Zeb, Lich, Natsuki. I mean, this Kintsugi team, I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough, especially in this North American region, because you have Dreamland, you have Nightmare, you have Emote down mid, you have Extinction, who, hey, unfortunately, one of the first teams out of the playoffs here. This Kintsugi team, though, I think has been flying under the radar for a lot of people in North America, in North American Masters. And now that they're at this spot, they deserve this attention that they are getting, because they could, I think, really take it to Dreamland here tonight.
They 100% can take it to Dreamland here tonight. If they could take it to Nightmare, of course you could take it to Dreamland. That's just a proven fact at this point. And they've looked fantastic as of late, and what they've been able to accomplish has been absolutely outstanding. I mean, looking just back at some of the stuff they were able to accomplish, the last time they lost a game was January 11th to Amplify. And that was after going off of a 3-loss tear. But since then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wins consecutively for this Kintsugi squad. They might be hotter than any team remaining.
Yeah, they might be the hottest team in this North American Masters tier, but the team they're going up against tonight has been the most consistent team throughout this entire season. Hunter, like we said, this Dreamland team, 1 loss, 1 blemish on their schedule, came against Nightmare in a 4-map fashion. However, outside of that 1 loss to Nightmare, they lost 3 maps in the regular season combined outside of that. So 6 maps lost in the regular season, and they were handed their 7th map loss yesterday against Emote down mid. 2 days ago against Emote down mid. So this Dreamland team has been by far and out the best team in this North American region here. And hey, map pick already in. We already know Dreamland banning out the Lucio here. Kintsugi has our last ban before we head into our first map. And I really hope it works this time.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, no lobby has worked so far as of these times. And that's been obviously a little rough when you think about it, especially considering that there is quite a number of people that are doing this game here today. So it's going to be a little bit of a fun time getting into this one. But, at the very least, we'll pray and hope that the lobby actually works as planned this time around. But we'll wait for that second ban to come in, the Lusu ban coming out. It's become a common ban, really, hasn't it? A lot of teams using it to kind of shut down a lot of the fast style or force Juno gameplay instead. It's become a lot more of a mainstay.
It really has been, but I've always said since hero bans have came out that Lucio is maybe the safest ban you could use in the support class. Or category, at least. It's a hero every team plays, so you're at least getting something out from the other side that will hinder them a little bit. D.Va,
what?
Oh my goodness!
Oh my god, it worked!
Oh my
god! Oh my god, it worked! That's insane.
So, again, for everyone who's wondering why me and Hunter are celebrating so hard that the lobby is working, me and him have already done 2 South American series today where both of them had to go to manual lobbies. And yesterday in North America, we had to go to a manual lobby for that one. but it's working. We are here. Diva and Lucio, the bans coming out here. So Kintsugi banning out Diva. I think that's a really smart ban, honestly. I mean, right now, I think when you look at safe bans, these are two of maybe the safest bans out there, outside of Zarya in tank and maybe Kiriko as well on that support line.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that this is the selection from both sides, honestly. The Diva, honestly, I think has been a really critical thing, especially from previous times we see Kintsugi, which, to be fair, in all rights, was much earlier on in the season, but we saw that Diva come out before, and the Diva's in a relatively strong position right now. Honestly, if the Zarya wasn't as overpowered as she kind of is in some retrospects, Diva may slip into that spot pretty simply. But I'm excited for what these teams can do. Dreamland, we know what they're likely to pull out the gate here. We've seen it many times before. We'll see if it works, though, because Ilios isn't, I would say, the most go-to map when it comes to their composition. That, of course, is like the Sigma Bab Bastion style that has become kind of prevalent with quite a few other teams in this division.
Yeah, absolutely here. And while we're waiting for one person to get in here from Dreamland. I hope they get in because there's still a chance that we might have celebrated a little bit too early here. But Hunter, me and you have basically been covering Dreamland throughout their entire run. Okay. That's not good. That's not good. We got sent back. We're out of lobby right now. The series is on hold. Luckily, I have at least talked to someone to get us into this game if they do go to manual lobbies. So, all right,
you should invite me to a group then when that happens. To be safe.
I'll invite you once I get in, because if Faceit works again, then we can't join the lobby.
True.
Here we go. Attempt number 2.
Double down. All right, let's attempt. Let's try it again. What's the over under on this one?
I'll give it 50%. But me and you, we either both of us, or at least just me on Wednesday, have been covering Dreamland in their entire upper bracket run so far, and I have been so impressed. And I imagine you have been so impressed with how this team plays. There we go. We're going in.
There we go.
But with how this team plays, they seem like the most all-round team in this that's still left here. Again, you look at the names on this team, a lot of them are some incredible players. Kintsugi as well. It will actually be one of the first times that I think me and you are, and actually I think the second time that me and you are covering Kintsugi here this season going into playoffs, because most of the time one of the featured co-streamers, Jilled Water, is the co-streamer for Kintsugi. So it's been really fun to watch Kintsugi through all the Jilled Water streams here. And again, Jill, thank you so much. Sorry about your internet, but thank you so much for at least sending some of your viewers to us. Hopefully we do as good of a job as you would for this series.
Yeah, grateful as always. Always a pleasure to watch you as well. And hopefully we can put on as good of an experience, or at least something just as close. But hey, we're ready to get into this thing. It's personally our third and final series of the evening. It's been a long day for these players. It is just getting started. The spot of the grand finals is on the line.
Map number 9 for us in today, Hunter, but honestly, coming out of the gate, this is not a big surprise. Dreamland is a very unique team. They do not play that Zarya Vendetta composition here. They normally stick to this Sigma throughout. Manly and Talisman have to do a lot of heavy work, but Dion has been absolutely excellent on this Sigma comp throughout the entire playoffs, really shutting down any pressure that comes out from that Vendetta on the other side most times.
At 100%. But one thing that's been apparent for a lot of these teams, Lich over on this Vendetta. The Vendetta's gotten quite a lot of play overall as well. And it's become a big favorite for a lot of these teams. Honestly, can't blame them. That downward slash is tough to deal with, but Dion is going to shut it down. If there's a tank that's good for shutting it down a Vendetta, it is that Sigma with that accretion. But the point is still very much open up here. It's anybody's game. ZZ just trying to stay alive, unfortunately going to be taken down, so it's Dreamland trying to shut down this fight, but this has become very prolonged, but with Zeb going down, should be an inevitability.
Yeah, another thing I didn't really mention there is the fact that we're seeing Natsuki come out on the Juno. Without the Lucio there, we saw it a lot in South America earlier today, where without Lucio, Juno would kind of be the one that you would see teams really go after because of the speed factor. Wu Yang, I think, would be the next one up in that case, but you want that speed rating to be able to really push your team forward in a lot of these situations, especially what Kintsugi is running here. Again, the Zarya Vendetta composition. You want some speed to be able to get your teammates in and out, especially when they're being as aggressive as they are. As you already see, Lich getting one bubble here. Dion just going to kind of pop here, allowing Zeb to get some charge.
Yeah, we're really trying to get something there, and that's what that Vendetta's going to be really good for in this situation. But ultimates are going to become a factor. Graveyard, said it so many times this season, it's going to have the ultimate upline first with that amplification matrix right here. It's going to take it over from the high ground, and it's going to cause everybody to have to hide away, be in a weird situation. Kiwi going to get the first blow to get this fight started, and now, with a lot of these ultimates being built up early, it's really going into that favor of Dreamland, who's able to kind of use a lot of these early and use them first.
Yeah, and one thing I'm really liking about how Dreamland is playing is the sun comes out from Kiwi. Get a land on both Winter and Natsuki, I believe, but really nothing had come from it there. Ooh, but Winter finally getting something going here.
Yeah, it does get the one. The flip comes through. It almost takes out Graveyard. So close, and Lich is going to go and help finish things out. We'll take that first fight away, 63% on the board. They burn at least a couple of the ultimates, and now they have the advantage going in to this next one.
Yeah, both support rooms coming out there from Dreamland. Maybe a little bit of an overinvestment. Manly almost getting taken out very early there by Winter, but look at Kintsugi now. Grab over Sundering Blade ready as well, as you already see Lich using it here. Gonna be able to just clean up Dion. And this is kind of what you wanted to see here. And really, if you're a Kintsugi fan, this is what you wanted. You wanted a quick fight win. Losing Dion, Dreamland's going to fall back here, regroup. This is a team that knows when to necessarily get out of situations and not stay longer than they're welcome. That was definitely one of those situations here. But I like what we're seeing from Kintsugi. They're pushing up a little bit. They're forcing Dreamland to really make the first move here because they have the ultimates at their disposal to really answer anything.
They really do at this point, and now Talisman is going to go in with that copy onto the Zarya, but it's going to get grabbed, so he's unlikely to hold on to this one. In fact, it's going to be knocked off, as he's to be the first one to go down, in Graveyard creating more of an opportunity to get into this one, making a bunch of space to deal with, and now it's the question of, do we get back in time to use the Consider Rush? The answer, I think, is likely not, especially with Zeb just far separated from the rest of the team, lucky to still be standing. But to be fair, this gives plenty of time for their carry to get back into the lineup, and that they 100% will. But here comes that Flux. It's going to wipe away the rest of Kintsugi. All they're doing now is going for a little bit more of that stall game. It's at the 80+ marker, but it's unlikely to go much further as the wipe will come through, but that is an expensive fight for both sides.
Yeah, it really is. When you look at both sides right now, Kiwi is has an ultimate ready to go for Dreamland with that Sun Winter. I think that's a little bit of a stronger ultimate here if they're able to find 1 or 2 picks with that overclock. Outside of that, Lich might be able to build up to their Sundering Blade, but I don't see any other ultimate coming out here. Granted, now that I said that, there'll be 5 ultimates somehow. But if you're Kintsugi coming back into this one here, you're seeing Dreamland play up a little bit. The Vision's out, but the Sun's out as well. Nice Suzu, though.
Yep, it's Winter trying to clutch something up here. It's getting manually really low. Who has to go ahead and hide away, but now you have to worry about getting a touch online here momentarily just to get yourself even a chance to fight in the situation, and you will at least get that. Lich, the closest person to having anything right here, but it's nothing guaranteed at this point. Looking for a free flip, and in fact, it comes through, and Lich is going to get out alive. In fact, manually is the one to drop down first. So now Graveyard has the pressure of getting this Animatrix on, but unfortunately, their team is falling apart below them, and Graveyard cut off for everybody else. Getting a touch here might be nearly impossible, even with the picks coming through. It will come through, but Lich is going to be finishing body after body off, as just one more touch coming from Talisman, but this is realistically going to be it, and Kintsugi is going to pull it around and take the first round.
An excellent round there, honestly, by Kintsugi. Coming out of the gate, it seemed like we really saw a strong start there from Dreamland, and it's because, hey, we absolutely did. We absolutely did.
Absolutely.
See a strong start from them. They got up to about 63%, and then you start to see Kintsugi come back in, and maybe a little bit of an overinvestment by Dreamland, put them behind the 8-ball a little bit. Both those support ultimates, they came out, and I was going to talk about their positioning and everything that we saw from them there, because Graveyard, up until the point where finally Kintsugi was able to make it on the point, really never got off the high ground that's right off the point. No one was really there to test them or just challenge them. Manly was right there by their side the entire time as well. I mean, you saw it took Kintsugi a little bit to get into that round, but hey, they got that first point there, and now Graveyard, I have to say, this is maybe one of the first times all season that they're going into the second point on a control map, not with the lead.
Yeah, it's kind of unlike them. At the very least, they're pretty good at control, but in this situation, Graveyard is dead early, and Graveyard, who's been really good at building up a lot of that ult charge, is now going to struggle to keep up with some of these people due to dying this early. But you see the chase coming through here from Kintsugi into the room. Dion and Kiwi both quick to fall, and while Tailsman is going to find one on the way out, at this point is going to go through simply to Kintsugi.
And again, I talked about it a little bit. Dreamland likes to play this playstyle right here where they don't use Zarya and Vendetta, and it's worked out very well for them. It seems like Kintsugi has really figured something out here to cause some problems here for Dreamland. And Dreamland, they have to make a change here soon if nothing goes their way, because I think we're just going to see the exact same thing we saw last point for Kintsugi, where they just got some momentum and never really gave it up outside of an ult fight from Dreamland. As you already see Dion getting harassed out, the Immortality field also invested, but Zeb finds Kiwi.
Yeah, they are just getting punished here. Dion is just getting constantly harassed by Lich, who's just trying to be a consistent fixture and making sure that their life is as difficult as possible. But Graveyard going to make it a little bit easier right there, taking care of business. We're entering more back into a 5v4 situation as everybody's hiding away in the corner and everyone going to get out alive at least momentarily, but you don't have any ults available if you're Kintsugi. And now going into the situation, Dion's going to be able to be a fixture on the point, and with Zeb going down, this flip feels like an inevitability.
It's going to be inevitability here. Winter, though, will find one. Dion, though, trades him right back out. Lich, I mean, you still have a support right here for Kintsugi. They're still very much in this fight. Lich can kind of keep their own with this Vendetta as they go after both Dion and Graveyard, actually forced to use the M-Matrix here. It's going to be a wasted ultimate. Oh, my goodness. Lich coming in with the clutch plays. Finding 3. Kintsugi really setting the tone here early.
That is insanity. Lich has been literally a Lich pin for this team. No, actually every pun intended there. But now you're going into final fight. You're still going to have the Sundering Blade with the grab and no ultimate to actually sustain you through that.
None here. And now the Sundering Blade coming out here early from Lich. They're looking for anyone they can, but it's at least going to buy some time, putting Dion, I think, into a really bad spot. Duplicate out there on the Talisman onto the here we go.
Yeah, and now both ults are going to come out here. Winter is going to find one of their own, making 2 of their own, getting 3, taking the 4th. They're going to finish the round. Kintsugi takes the first map. Legitimately, especially that second half, that's dominant fashion. Let's keep it a buck.
Insanely dominant, and especially with how much we kind of talked up Dreamland coming into this one here. Remember, 7 map losses throughout the entire season. That's regular season and playoffs. Dreamland, I mean, Kintsugi comes in here and looks like the much better team. This is going to be, Hunter, we have ourselves a series on our hands here.
Wow. That is fascinating right there. It's not like we went into the situation expecting Kintsugi to not do good.
No.
But man, that is a rather dominant way to get things started on this one. And
yeah,
it's very rare that Dreamland has to be on the back foot, especially this quickly, honestly. We've seen teams take maps off of it, but that's normally when Dreamland is already up 1-0 or 2-0. It rarely ever goes like this.
Yeah, and right now, as I look at the stats here, manually, someone that we've always talked a lot about when we cast Dreamland, because they're always doing so much, least amount of elims on their team with 7. I mean, their supports, Graveyard and Kiwi, had 12 and 9 respectively there. I mean, I think Kintsugi has really done the right thing here. I think you can go back to the Emote Down Mid match that we covered with them, where Emote Down Mid won a map. It was really because, hey, Emote Down Mid shut down that DPS line. Granted, Dreamland seemed to struggle a little bit on Dorado for the most part, but that DPS line was almost non-existent on Dorado, and Emote Down Mid really made them pay for it here. I mean, Lich and Winter combining for 27 kills there is nothing to scoff at, but I just think Kintsugi played an incredible first map there, and Dreamland, again, a little bit of unorthodox play from them. It seemed like they finally allowed pressure to get to them for the first time since me and you started covering them this playoffs.
Yeah, and it really is. And the biggest person I saw kind of struggling a little bit, especially the second half, was Graveyard, who normally is a really consistent figure, not just on this team, but I think is legitimately one of the best supports we have in this division, especially on that Baptiste. Maybe can't be matched, I'll be honest. But it's this constant pressure that you get that makes it difficult to play that Baptiste in a lot of situations. And that's rough because that's some of the best play that you could get, but you can't fully realize it when you have a Lich consistently in your face like that. Now, with that first ban coming into form, they are shutting it down this next map to a degree. The Vendetta was the ban from Dreamland, so they are trying to slow down the pace a little bit on that side, and I think give, honestly, not just Graveyard, but the whole team a little bit more room to breathe.
Yeah, like I said, for the first time, it seemed like that Zarya Vendetta playstyle really got to Dreamland. Kintsugi played it, I think, perfectly. We saw the aggressive plays come out. We saw good exits as well from the Vendetta, just knowing when they could really push the envelope there and not necessarily overextend themselves, which is something that I think is very difficult to do, no matter how good your team is, no matter how good of a player you are on that Vendetta, because you have to know when to get out of situations, because you do like to play aggressively into them. And hey, you see red sometimes, and I will mention that you do see red playing Vendetta because you want to go get those kills. However, immediately with the Vendetta coming out here, you see Kintsugi immediately responding right back with the Sigma ban. So Dion gonna have to go to something else this map.
Yeah, and there's a possibility that maybe we go down the route of something like a double Zarya. But the reality is we see a lot of tanks be pulled out in different situations. We saw the Reinhardt pulled out earlier today, and it worked. It's crazy what you can make work when you're comfortable enough and you have the adaptability to do such a thing. But we're ready to get into this second map, and things, I mean, I would say are already heating up at this point as Dreamland will attack first, so we'll have the chance to respond pretty quickly.
And I like the kind of camaraderie we're seeing in chat right now, because you can really see that that Kintsugi is trying to maybe get under the skin of Dreamland a little bit, because they're asking in chat, hey, what's the score? Because this is a little bit of something for Dreamland you haven't dealt with at all this season.
Yeah, 100%.
Nenwai, though, coming in.
Yeah. That was going to be my point. Nenwai comes in for Kiwi. I imagine primarily to come in on this Lucio and play a little bit of a faster style. And I like the fact that Dion immediately is going to shift over to, I imagine, what's going to be the Ramatra, and it's going to stay that way, which we saw earlier. Ramatra going to a Zarya, and it ended up being pretty effective. It's just a rundown tactic to try to make sure Zeb is the first one to go down.
Yeah, absolutely here. But Nenwai Natsuki playing Lucios on this map. I'm not going to talk about it. But you see Reaper. I mean, you saw Reaper a little bit earlier today in South America, and it found a lot of value. Maybe a lot more value than what we've seen Reaper find since, well, Zarya Reaper was a really strong thing, and that's exactly what you see Dreamland coming out here. My bad. Kintsugi coming out here with.
Yeah, 100%. But Lich being on this Reaper, again, we saw some really good work earlier from Ligtat over on this Reaper, and Lich hoping to do the same thing here. You see a little bit of pressure right there as Graveyard forced to get out of the little staircase area, Jizui, but it's going to cause them to just pull back for now.
And again, this is a really smart play by them. You lose one person early, don't engage, just back up. You don't have to go that long to get out of spawn here, but this is a good start right now for Kintsugi, as you are just trying to build up some space, build up some time, get some time off that time bank, and play aggressively, and you already see the bubble going there on to Lich. And Dion, again, I think this is someone that we talked very highly about, honestly, for good reasons, but they've struggled really a lot throughout this entire series.
Yeah, they have especially. It's been rough, but still plenty of time to still make this happen and turn this one around. Ultimate's not quite really much to talk about yet right now. You have Z, who's working up towards that first Kintsugi rush. Graveyard directly behind him, though. So there is the possibility of that double Kintsugi rush when it's needed the most. But Tails meant to be forced into the freeze to be able to stay alive. And now Kintsugi rush available, and Graveyard going to have it, but will they have it in time? The answer is yes.
I'm surprised with the investment coming out here from Graveyard. I thought they would kind of just fall back for a brief moment, let Kintsugi's Kitsune go away, and before they go in, but no, they just kind of pull the trigger immediately. That's a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah, and Seb is unfortunately in a little bit of no man's land right now, and it's going to grab, and unfortunately, 3 people in it, it's not going to matter. And now you're going to have one tick close to coming on the board, and the Annihilation is going to try to lynch this in, but unfortunately, they're cleaning things up, and Nenwai managing to find one. I don't think that's going to matter.
It's not. And if you're Nenwai, you just now need to get out. The investment by Dion there was absolutely surprising. I don't hate it. If it worked out, it would have been maybe, I would have said, a great play by them. But now that it's gone, You have Blizzard, yeah, but that Annihilation just buys you space, especially in a situation where, like, yeah, right now, no ticks on the board, 90 seconds left to go. Dreamland is going to have to really, really rush to get to this point.
Yeah, Beat gonna come through here. Lich lucky to get out alive. Winner's gonna try to shove people down, but they are gonna be annihilated just before the Beat comes out here. Now Talisman gonna try to shut this down with a little bit of the freeze. Is gonna force everybody back. Lich taken care of, and now this first tick should be able to come through for free. But Zeb is in such an uncomfortable position inside this hotel right now. Needs to try to get their way out.
Well, Zeb, Natsuki, and Z are there, but Z is not going to be able to get out. Zeb is going to kind of sacrifice their body on point to stall out for a brief moment here, but this should be Dreamland finally breaking through, honestly. And I don't think there was really any mistake there by anyone. I think Dreamland, they just used the beat perfectly. And honestly, I think something that will go unsung there, Talisman's Blizzard, it was actually put in the perfect spot. Natsuki had to wait on the other side of the choke for it to go away, because no matter which way they went, they were either going to get frozen or probably just killed. I mean, even though the Blizzard didn't freeze anyone, it still found the value there just being a zoning tool. And that was really, really what Dreamland needed here. But now coming back out, you look at it here. Lich still has Death Blossom. Z still has the Kintsugi. So does Graveyard. But outside of that, there's really nothing ready to go early on. Dion, though, Annihilation ready to go. Needs to find a little bit more value this time, but especially go through Street Phase. You should be able to, and Talisman on this. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Lich, that's an insane situation. Now they're still alive in this one. Dion still has all the care in the world, and looks like that should be enough to secure this one. But Lich was trying to get out of that fight right there, but they got walled off and decided, well, might as well go for it. And to be fair, it almost worked.
Yeah, and right now, I don't think we've necessarily seen a mistake come out from Kintsugi, but you've given now some momentum. You've given, I think, Dreamland a little bit of confidence here, especially after how the last map went. They look like the Dreamland that we kind of expected to see here tonight. They look like they're back to their old confident selves here. Talisman and Dion have their ultimates ready to go in this fight. Yeah, Z's and Zebs should be able to have both their ultimates here, but I think the Blizzard's going to be the biggest problem here right now for Kintsugi.
Yeah, and the more room you give up, the rougher it's going to be to deal with. You need to take a faster fight here, but Natsuki is down early. You have a Graviton Surge ready to go, but I feel like it would be a big gamble to use here. But here comes that freeze. It's going to catch on to nobody, and you're going to use it to try to break through here, but all it's going to do is delay them, but eventually you're going to be able to start trading bodies out. But the trade doesn't work here because Dion is ready to go, has all the health in the world, can block things out forever. This feels like an inevitability, but bodies have to start flying over onto the cart, but eventually it's going to be too much. Zebdo has found 3, by the way. Make it a 4th as Mangler gets out alive. That is insanity.
Can we get a number 5? No, we won't. It seems like Manually is the only one out, as it died pretty early on in that engagement. But, I mean, hey, give it up to Kintsugi there for actually holding. However, you look over to Dreamland's side of the scoreboard. Kitsune, Overclock, Beat, all online. Those are 3 really good ultimates. Kintsugi, yeah, they'll have their own Overclock, their own Beat. Lich could build up to Death Blossom, and same thing with Z's. They could build up to a Kintsugi, but honestly, you really just need an early pick here for Kintsugi to potentially have a good chance to fight. But honestly, forcing the Beat out early is great.
Yeah, and Zeb is down early, and now with Natsuki with their own Beat as well, this is going to be tough to pull back from. Lich is going to have to be an absolute warrior getting into this one, but instead he's going to have to TP out. Sustain over on the point. It's going to get booped around. We'll still find one with it. Gets rid of a second. And now it could be another big clutch up for the Kintsugi squad. But Dion shutting down Lynch is going to potentially try to bring this one back around. But the problem is Dion, no help remaining. And once again, they're going to shut them down. Talisman's gone. Dion's not going to live long enough to get anything longer than maybe the touch, but yeah, Annihilation is there just in time, but only has heals from Nenwai, and Kintsugi once again stops them in place, holds on to second point. That is a phenomenal hold.
Yeah, and I mean, you could go back and look at the first point. Kintsugi did a really good job up until, well, the one fight that Dreamland won. Second point, I think it was, hey, the actual Streets phase of Streets phase was, that's easy to say, not the best for them. But once it got close to that second point, that second point you need to get, you saw a little bit of a change there. And we see that a lot on this map because, hey, if you're able to win a fight right by that second point, it's very, very difficult for the enemy team to get back because it's such a long walk. And it just seemed like Kintsugi found the perfect kind of balance there, especially with time and their ult usages. Well, some of them were I'm not going to say bad, because really they weren't. I think the grab we saw from Zeb, even though they died just after using it, they still ended up holding the point because of it. I think without that grab, you don't hold on second point, and Dreamland is pushing through third right now.
Yeah, because it was them trying to follow up with their own Kitsune Rush, and it stops them from really being able to use just about any of it. And even though Zeb eventually, I think, goes down to that, it does manage to take one or two people with, which is, I mean, in that situation, if you're going to go down, if you can at least trade somebody out with you, that could be so incredibly important, especially with how far away those spawns are for both squads. It's really important to take somebody down, and it worked out great, but now need to be able to finish the job here with their own attack.
Yeah, and you see Dion sticking with this Ramatra. Dion actually had the most damage last round between any players, which is not a big surprise, playing that Ramatra.
Oh, bye.
Ooh, Talisman! I mean, Hunter, we've seen these Mays basically become snipers these past couple days here, and Talisman just continuing the trend here right now. And look at what that does here to Kintsugi. Just gonna back up. Again, we saw this last round with Dreamland. You lost one, back up, don't have to wait very long. But Talisman, manually Graveyard, Dion already above 20% on their ult charge. Zeds, though, 50% to a Kitsune, they could get that up here pretty quickly.
Yeah, 100% could. Winter getting low for a moment. Gonna be able to stay alive as Nenwai hanging around with the rest of their team. Lich gonna try to go in aggressive, gets pushed back really aggressively by Nenwai. But still, like you said, you want Z to be able to build up towards Kitsune Rush. It'd be super important, and it could outcome Blitz through this first point, but Winter, unfortunately, is down first.
Winter's down first, but at the same time, it seems like some members of Dreamland put themselves in a bad spot, but it won't necessarily matter as this fight, I think, is already done and dusted. Lich will fall out here. So now about a minute off the time bank, a little bit more than a minute off the time bank, and it's just going to be another reset here for Kintsugi. They will have Kitsune Rush coming in this next fight. If, oh god, someone needs to get Zeb out there, they'll be able to do that. But look over at Dreamland. Kitsune, Overclock, not that far away from Blizzard, beat. I mean, you're in a really good spot right now for Dreamland to try to get yourself back into this series. But much like last round where, hey, all that Dreamland needed to open up this first point was one ult, that could be what we see here.
Yep, and you see Graveyard down already. The opening is here. You could continue rushing. Hey, end it right there. And hey, that's what they're going to do. Everyone's going to back out. And now if I'm Kintsugi, I'm throwing everybody on this point and trying to cap.
Well, that's what's going to happen here. Disruptor shot coming out there just to try to stop him down. Now, oh, the grab is perfect!
Yeah, but unfortunately, one person went around, but it's still going to kill them all anyway. And realize how important this is. That death right there, everybody is going to get the bad spawns from Dreamland.
Yeah, bad spawns coming out from them. This will allow now Kintsugi to get going early on. And Hunter, remember, the golden box of victory is essentially the second point. All you have to do is just get to the second point. But you look over at Dreamland, Blizzard, Annihilation, Beat ready to go for them. They're in a good spot here with these ultimates to really just find one pick, win one fight, and get this map back under their control. Very, very difficult for them, or very difficult for Kintsugi to really get going after that here. But you have to use your ultimate sparingly here if you're Dreamland. If you ult dump all three of them here, I think you're almost just playing into Kintsugi's hands, especially with them about to have three ultimates ready to go as well.
Yeah, Winner though, gonna take that level of aggression. And Talisman gone, had to freeze. And now you make all this amazing space, but Annihilation used immediately by Dion, and I don't know if I like this either. He's just gonna get no use out of outside of staying alive maybe a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, you need to use that there, though, if you're Dion, because like you said, they stay alive because of it. You still have Blizzard, you still have Beat. You're still in good spots here, but Nenwai, while we would normally talk about Beats being used for the grab, you need to use that now a little bit earlier than what you want here. Talisman's Blizzard now becomes a vital part of not only this fight, but of this map.
Yeah, and now here we go, heading in with it, gonna be shut down as the Beat going to come out from both sides. Freeze there as well, though, as it's looking like the trade's going, nah, no way, as Winner's got the dive in, just trying to find somebody, but instead Natsuki gonna have to just take the death on the point. 3 minutes left on the clock. Use a couple ults for that, but to be fair, you get quite a bit out of Dreamland too.
Yeah, you really do. Here, Dreamland, they invested Death Blossom, they invested their own Beat, and Winter, I mean, they started off that fight with their Overclock. Now you look over at Dreamland, still have their Kitsune, still have their Overclock. Zeb, though, will have this grab at some point here, 2.5 minutes. If they don't build up by the end of this map, I think there's a couple more questions you have to ask about it, but they should be able to build up pretty quickly. Without the beat on the other side, you're really more looking at Graveyard's Suzu as a big difference maker here, just to try to keep people alive.
Yeah, 100%. Zab could be big with this grab. Could end the whole map right here and now. If it's big enough, now the wall's there. You get rid of disruption, but with Lich dead, yeah, I think you're going to see them just try to back out here and just try to get out alive and reset. Especially with all that charge. At the very least, Zab needs to get out alive.
Zeb needs to get out. They're going to be able to do that, but you lose Z, you lose Winter there. You have Natsuki trying to back tap, not going to be able to do that. Manually shuts them down here. But you look over at the ultimates again, 2 ready for each side, but Dion slowly getting there. And that's a little bit uncomfortable right now if you're Kintsugi. You probably know they're close to this annihilation, but that is an ultimate that, especially in a final fight kind of situation on cart, it could be very, very difficult for you to really shut it down here. This ice wall coming out that world trap Zeb, but there's enough damage on the other side as Manly opens with the overclock.
But pulled in. 2 of them pulled in. 2 of them are dead. Annihilation's gone. And that's every ultimate down the drain. And unfortunately, Talisman, last one alive, is going to be able to maybe touch one more time here, but he's getting pursued. I don't think they saw initially where Talisman went, but I think Talisman is no longer in touchable territory. It's got to be Dion back on the Doom, and even then, they're going to barely touch in time.
Get a touch right there. Winter popping off with the overclock, but it's not going to be, or it's going to be just enough there. Kintsugi goes up 2-0 in the series, and Hunter, I don't know if Dreamland's ever been in this situation.
I don't think they have. Not in any recent memory. It is insanity. It is. It's incredible what Kintsugi has done here so far today. It's incredible. There's a couple points where you could say they struggled, but they bounced back. It's been Zeb, honestly, with a lot of these Graviton surges, have been so consistent as well. We're seeing a bit of a struggle from Dion, who is a very consistent player, extremely consistent. These annihilations haven't been able to use very aggressively. They have all been for the sake of survival, and it's been survival at best. It's a rough situation, but Dreamland is a team that we expect to be able to adjust, but they haven't yet.
And yeah, they haven't yet. That's the weird thing, and especially, like, if you look at the stats here, Hunter, they're incredibly close. Like, yeah, you would imagine this map ended like how it did, insanely close, just based off of them. And it would be actually, I think, for one of the first times ever, actually telling the truth of how this map went. I mean, Lich kind of struggled. Winter, though, picked up a lot. That DPS line for Dreamland that I talked about after map 1, saying, hey, they need to step up. They did step up. But at the end of the day, at the end of the map, it doesn't necessarily matter, even though everything was so close. Kintsugi, I think, got off to such a good start on their round, on their attacking round, that it gave them a little bit of more time to make, they didn't necessarily make swaps to their composition, but they made small adjustments in how they played. And Dreamland, normally we talk about them doing those things. Like you said, they haven't done that just yet. But Hunter, I do have to mention, we've seen this scoreline once already tonight.
Yeah, we have.
We've seen the scoreline twice already tonight. One of the times, it ended after the next map. The other time, well, it reversed on us.
It was I'd say it's fair to say an unexpected reverse sweep. I feel like that's very fair to say. Which, to be fair, you don't really often expect a reverse sweep. But this is also Dreamland. This is a Dreamland team that is capable of pulling it off. But they need to be able to figure something out here. They send in their first ban, which is interesting, with it being the Torbjorn, and obviously this screams that this is a DPS protection ban. The other side of things, though, they strike at the heart of Dreamland. The Baptiste is banned out.
Yeah, you're nailing it right there. The heart. Graveyard is definitely the heart and soul of this team in a lot of cases. Excellent on the support line. Very, very scary, especially playing that Baptiste here. It's, I think, good bans from both sides. And like you said, it's definitely ace DPS protection here by Dreamland. But the BAP coming out from Kintsugi, I think, is just incredible as well.
Yeah, fantastically so. But hey, we're ready. We're heading into this third map and potential final map of this series. Kintsugi on match point. Going to try to end things off on Runasapi. But again, this Dreamland squad, they are not going to go down without a fight. We'll see what Graveyard will be on with the Baptiste taken off. You would assume either the Juno or potentially the Kiriko, like we saw a bit previously.
Yeah, I would absolutely expect that. Maybe even Juno Lucio. That would be a weird one.
Oh, there we go.
That's the stuff right there,
Yeah,
man.
it is. It's best. This is back to Dreamland basics. This is a pure Dreamland comp through and through.
And we've seen Dreamland run this comp regularly in the past. Talisman has acted as a hit scan on this Mei, manually doing exactly what they need to do here, being the bubble popper that we always talk about, Bastion being with Zarya. Lich, though, back over onto the Vendetta. It's going to be really interesting here in this first fight to see how it really works out. I think the Ice Walls from Talisman last map really did a number to Kintsugi, but you didn't necessarily see the follow-up a lot of the time. You would see Zeb get low, Lich get low. I think you saw Lich actually die the majority of the times, but you want to get rid of Zeb in a lot of these cases.
You 110% do. You would absolutely love to do that, and now with Talisman on this wall, you're going to be able to force everybody into a weird position, but that's why Zeb has to play so carefully in this situation. But right now, Dion is kind of being forced around. Nice secretion over onto Lich, forced into one territory, but Natsuki gets the first elimination, but unfortunately, both DPS of Kintsugi are taken down in quick succession here, so Dreamland should be able to come away with the first fight here. Zeb and Z hoping to hang on, but the Z is eventually gonna go down as, yeah, that's a pretty clean first fight to get things going here for Dreamland.
And I think if you're Dreamland, you really need to win that first fight. I know I say it a lot just by, hey, you need something to give yourself a little bit of momentum, but you needed that there. And you already see a swap coming out here now from Kintsugi. Winter going, or actually no. Did Winter come out on the
No,
Freya?
Winter swapped to Freya.
Okay, yeah, Winter already going to the Freya here. And they want to try to deal with Manly on their own, by being a little bit far back. Icewall coming out there, Lich barely going to be able to escape here. But again, you're going to start to see Winter apply a little bit more pressure to Manually, and that should end up helping out both Zeb and Lich find the value they're looking for. But as I say, Lich, they're no longer here.
They most definitely are not, and now this is not looking pretty as they're going to get wiped away. Zeb just has to go die near the point, as that is going to be an extremely quick take of this checkpoint.
A minute 50. Hunter, maybe one of the fastest we've seen. And ooh, Dion's starting to get a little bit feisty in the chat. I didn't see the chat
Oh my
before
God.
this map. I don't know if anyone from Kintsugi was necessarily talking, but this seems like a matchup where each of these teams really wants to get into the heads of the other team, even though everyone knows it's jokingly. But the mental game is a real thing. Kitsune Rush, though, out early for both sides.
100% it is, and now, remember, Flux still available here for Dion. But unfortunately, Zeb in a really weird area, going to be taken out. Trey's trying to go back and forth. But unfortunately, it's really only Zeb that has gone down. Kintsugi should be able to take this fight away, and Dion going to go and die over on the point. It's just going to secure everybody else those spawns, but Dion looks like they should catch onto it as well.
And it's gonna be Natsuki going back to get Zeb into this fray, into the picture here. But all those forward spawns, like you said, they did catch the bus. So it will be Dreamland coming back out here pretty quickly. And you look at what Dreamland has here: Beat, Flux, Blizzard, Artillery. Yeah, you're gonna see Kintsugi come up to 3 of their own ultimates here, but again, it's just that I think if Dreamland goes fast here, we're in that 50-50 mode right now, Hunter, where Dreamland's okay giving up some space because they have this big lead, and all they need to do is win one fight.
Yeah, but Lich is going to try to find something here. Dion is nearly burnt down. Beat and Cleanse out online, and now Zeb with literally 1 health to their name. Gonna let it listen now. Instead, it's going to be Dion going for it. Gets knocked out of it. Goes down, and Lich again hoping to clean up shop here. He's focused a little bit on survivability, but right now is being an absolute boss, and Winter gets 3 to end the fight.
A pretty heavy ult investment by both sides there. I mean, 3 ultimates, 3 ultimates invested by Kintsugi, 3 ultimates invested by Dreamland. But Kintsugi comes out on top, even losing Zeb early on. And look at Zeb now. They're going to mirror Dion. The Zarya not find the value. And it's really going to make me wonder how long does Lich stay on this Vendetta if they want to make the swap, because I think you almost kind of have to here. You're going to have to play even more safer on the Vendetta, which is not necessarily her forte, but we've seen Lich play incredibly smart all night. Bullet shot out there from Winter, not going to be able to stick on anyone.
Yeah, and Zeb might as well be cooked. He's frozen, he's walled off, separated entirely from the team. They saw the rotation going through the backside, and they immediately responded. And now, You see that level of aggression going through the Kintsugi rush. Tried to build them a little bit of space. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough as they're going to be able to clear things out. Take care of business. Natsuki, one in the back, just has to take the death and move on. As Zeb is going to give up on the Sigma, go back to the Zarya.
Again, a really interesting choice coming out there from Zeb. I wonder what the thought process was behind it, because there's really no one on the other side that I think you need to have that pressure for being in your face like the Vendetta does right now, because they're not playing it. But you look over now at Dreamland, they have Kintsugi, they have another artillery, and they have the forward spawns back, and Manly are going to open up this fight with the artillery. They're going to try to at least get some spacing, or at least just try to focus on Zeb.
Yeah, but again, Lich going to try to find another big one here. Gets rid of Dion this time around. And that's pretty nice, all things considered, but this fight is not quite over yet. Natsuki gets a nice poke, though, on Talisman to finish this one up. Manually is still alive with Nenwai, so things not quite done and dusted yet. You're trying to get some cleanups here, and that you will. But again, they stall it on the point, and Manually and Nenwai not only give them the forward spawns, they should get them themselves, too.
Yeah, again, we're going to see another quick re-engage here from Dreamland, which is what you want to be doing here. You have this lead about 50 meters right now, less than half the time bank left to go. And you only look at the other side. Beat, bullet shot ready to go. Winter missed on their bullet shot last time around, but if they can land on someone like Nenwai, it could be something that ends their life here. But Kintsugi Rush out here early from Graveyard, and Natsuki, first one taken out.
Yeah, again, another rough situation. Is Lich going to move in to try to find something as Talisman gonna hide away within the freeze, and is gonna be able to stall things out a little while longer as Zeb somehow catches on to Manually. B comes out just in time for Nenwai to keep everybody going, and Dion still going to have that flux available during this fight. We'll see whether or not it's used, but instead it's the freeze that's thrown in. Zeb again frozen, but this time will not be caught out, and hey, the trade's still going back and forth, Dex, but it looked like ultimately Kintsugi is clutching this out.
And here's the checkpoint for Kintsugi. They get the forward spawns, and that's an almost devastating pick there onto Dion. Yeah, they probably weren't going to get out with their lives, but I mean, this is not a large lead anymore. You only have to go up really a little bit here to the staircase. Essentially, is where this lead ends here for Dreamland. And Hunter, I wonder if Dreamland's starting to feel it in this series, because it seems like Kintsugi has definitely figured them out here.
They have, and now you're in one fight territory. You're in a rough spot. Lich is lucky to be alive right now, by the way. Got to like 10 health.
Oh.
You say that grab coming through, though. Catches on to 3, but nobody goes down directly. So now Dion Manually are going to have to follow up here, and they're going to go with... Lynch is going to go for it.
Whew. And it's going to be Talisman actually beating, or ice blocking
oh
themselves
my
there.
God.
So I'm going to find Nenwai out early, but it's going to be traded out almost immediately. But oh my goodness, Kintsugi! Again, clean house. The lead should be theirs.
Yeah, it 100% is going to be. You burn a bunch of the ultimates as well. You get rid of the flux, the artillery strike. This is such good territory now for Kintsugi, who have a chance to potentially end this one here. And now you see a bolo shot is right in the back line, but unfortunately Winter is going to miss entirely.
I think the third straight time Winter's missed on the bolo shot here, but it doesn't matter. It's buying them time, buying them space. Zeb will find Manually out here, and Zeb in that back line on their own there with Z, going to be able to keep them support here, but eventually they will fall. However, the cart has stopped moving as Talisman on it now, and you will just see eventually, I think, every member of Kintsugi just kind of die out on point here. But Hunter, you look at that clock, a minute 50 left to go here. Kintsugi now has a 24-meter lead here. And really, that's only a fight. It truly is, yeah. But with how far they have it pushed up, it's really 2 fights. And it's going to be interesting to see if Dreamland comes in here, invests its Kintsugi, which I imagine they will, and Z will immediately respond with their own, because that's kind of how it's been going all night long.
They're going to have to. And yeah, here it comes out, and Z, we'll see if there's an immediate investment back or not. No, they just give up the space. They say, nope, we want nothing to do with that. And now they're going to have their own Kitsune Rush, and if they want to respond, Nenwai's going to have to beat here, because Manually is completely cut off from anybody else. Nenwai could be back with everybody else. You wonder whether or not this beat is worth it, but no, you have to save it for the grab.
You have to save it for the grab now, but look at what's going to happen. Remember, Dreamland just reset spawns, and now, well, Kintsugi, they have them back. A minute left to go, and they're looking to add on to their lead here. Bolo shot again, ready to go for Winter. Remember, it was only about a fight and a half ago that they used their last one.
Yeah, I believe that's now 4, I think, total. It's thrown out. Again, not going to connect, but that's fine. Beat gonna be used by Nenwai, and now Grav going in. There's 2 going in, and there's 2 going home as they're cleaning things up. Dion down, Graveyard back. We are potentially 1 fight away from a Kintsugi sweep.
It would be absolutely insane as we see Choose enter and leave the lobby. But, I mean, Kintsugi, again, Hunter, we knew they had this in them, but I don't think me and you thought they had this kind of performance in them. They are looking unstoppable.
Yep, and now they're just going in there. They're forcing a lot away. Eventually are going to go down as the bot has been taken pretty far as Zeb going to hang around. But everyone gets the good spawns, and now it has to be perfection from the Dreamland squad.
A 47-meter difference right here. You have at least 3 fights ahead of you, I believe, here for Dreamland. You have 3 ultimates at your disposal, so you're not necessarily in the worst spot, but you have to use them sparingly. But it's not going to be easy for you as Kintsugi. They're going to play their aggressive playstyle that's been disrupting you all night long.
Yep, and you're going to use that freeze and buy yourself a little bit of space on the point, but Natsuki's already gotten rid of one. Dion has to invest here. He's in a rough spot, and it's slowly turning itself around. It's just Talisman hanging around, and Kintsugi somehow, some way upsets Dreamland, and they'll be the first contender in the grand finals.
Hunter, yesterday Kintsugi beat Nightmare. Now they come in and beat Dreamland. Hell, these might be Kintsugi themselves might just be the people who watch over us when we sleep here, considering how well they've been playing over these last couple days. I mean, it's been an absolute fun time watching this team, especially getting upsets. I think everyone's going to call this one here, but at this point right now, no, they're not upsets. They have to be your favorite left in this Faceit Master Tier division. And they have just been playing out of their minds. It has been an incredible journey for them to watch. Dreamland, on the other hand, we have to ask questions now. We have to. Second loss of the season. They did not look like themselves at all. You saw Dion, who I've been wanting to say something about this Dreamland squad for the longest time, but I've stopped myself from saying it because I don't want to put it out there. It's not nothing bad. It's not nothing bad, but I'll say it right now. I thought this Dreamland squad was OWCS squad written all over them with how they've played. Now they're going down this lower bracket. Yeah, they have that automatic bye for those OWCS qualifiers, but I think Kintsugi showed us what you have to do. I think if you're Dreamland, you also might now need to adopt this Zarya Vendetta playstyle in this playoffs, because you haven't really touched it. You touched it a little bit throughout the couple games that we've streamed with them, but you've really been riding and dying with this Sigma, which, hey, Dion's made it look incredible, made it look like the strongest tank at times. But now you have to start asking questions, because this Zarya composition shut it down. And yeah, you could talk about every other performance that came out tonight from Kintsugi. I mean, especially when you look at Winter and Lich, they did everything you wanted them to do and more. I think Winter, especially on that Freya, yeah, I think they had 5 duds of bolas, but still 23 eliminations, 7 deaths, 12,000 damage. Lich as well went 23 and 6. I mean, in this last map, Kintsugi, they put together the perfect series against Dreamland, and I think put it on tape right now on how to beat this Dreamland squad.
That is, yeah, it is an insane performance on their part, being able to pull this off. And obviously, you having this time to be able to realize what your opponent is, what they do, and realizing, hey, our normal strategy falls in tow with what we're trying to do here, what shuts them down. It all lines up perfectly, and Kintsugi, they roll with that. They never look back. They never think twice. They know this is the thing they need to use to beat Dreamland, and they do it in 3, not in 5, not in 4. They do it in 3, and now they can rest for a little bit of extra longer with them being in the grand finals now. Now, of course, we still don't know who their opponent is going to be. It's either going to be Dreamland or the winner of Nightmare and Emote down mid, which, to my understanding on that game, it is currently tied right now 1-1 with Nightmare currently pushing on Blizzard World. Wow.
And I know our friend Ma Neva is covering that one there, so probably when we end our streams, we'll send everyone over to Mott, as, again,
100%.
that should be a really, really fun series here. But again, I think one last thing I want to say on this. I think there are a couple people who I heard talking about some of these teams in playoffs, and they marked down Dreamland and Nightmare as the favorites, and some people went as far as saying like, "Hey, those are OWCS rosters." Hell, I just said about Dreamland. I still think that about Dreamland. Uh, but if both if you lose Nightmare tonight and EDM is there against Dreamland tomorrow, again, we've seen that matchup once already, but
Yeah.
EDM figured out how to take a map against them. Kintsugi shows you the playbook here tonight. Granted, EDM plays a certain play style, but we start to see Cardiff really start to play other tanks as well, Zarya being one of them. But again, I don't think they're going to be able to match what Kintsugi did here tonight, because in these last couple maps, outside of that first one where Zeb really was ahead of Dion and Zeb basically went toe for toe. It's that DPS line. It's that support line. I mean, we did not talk about Z's or Natsuki enough throughout the night here. But again, me and you talk about this all the time. When we're not talking about the supports, it normally means they're doing their job, and they're doing a great job of it. I mean, hell, we talked about how Graveyard with his BAP ban coming out here on the final map was the heart of this team, because BAP has been their go-to. Again, Dreamland plays a little bit of a different play style than everyone else, and it's worked for them. It got shut down tonight. I think the BAP ban here on the final map, not necessarily the final nail in the coffin, because you never know what could happen, but it was definitely the start of it.
Yeah, it 100% was the start of it. And that's a great timed ban for Kintsugi as well. Because you could have easily cut out the first map and like, oh, we know Graveyard plays Baptiste, let's ban it now. You wait until they're down like this, and then you pull the ripcord. You pull that trigger, and I think the timing is wonderful on that, of course. Especially when Dreamland is trying to find solutions, and you take one of the linchpins away from them. I think that's perfect. But it's a big journey for Kintsugi to make it all the way here from a team that was, I think, 2-2 at one point, with barely any of the games played so far. They finished 10-4, I believe 10-5, I believe actually. But they get all the way here. Now they're in the grand finals. They're going to be in that big stream game tomorrow, which of course we're going to be excited to watch that. Of course, it's going to be the official stream. Of course, going to have some lovely people there, Spectreon, Bullskunk, and Lemon Kiwi. Happy for them. It's going to be a fantastic show tomorrow. As for us, though, I mean, me personally, I have a big sports events to watch tomorrow, but I will be keeping up with all the action. Dex, is there anything going on in your side of the next neck of the woods for tomorrow?
I don't know if I'll be around to co-stream it as well, but I want to say one thing. Congratulations to the Cafe. I think they have now 2 teams in the grand finals in both EMEA and NA now. I mean, Hunter, me and you talked about how Dilducks in South America and Oceania are kind of running those ones. Right now, everyone has to go through the Cafe and EMEA and NA. And I think that's a great thing here. It's really fun to see these orgs really find good teams and be able to be so good across multiple regions. Again, congratulations to the Cafe org.
Yep, big congratulations, and obviously best of luck with those grand finals. But when it comes to us here tonight, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I'm a little bit on the tired side. It's been a very long day so far for the both of us.
We started casting at 4 and had an hour-and-a-half break.
Yeah, total. It's been crazy. But we appreciate y'all being here with us throughout the day. The support has been phenomenal. Make sure you keep supporting good old Overwatch and all the co-streamers doing this. There's still a whole week of games coming soon. Obviously, South America still needs to wrap up next week, but we appreciate y'all being here for this one. But we're going to go and send it away, get some much needed rest and relaxation. Make sure you go and tune in with this raid, as we're going to check out that Nightmare EDM game. So we'll catch y'all later. Have yourselves a fantastic night. Peace.